You're watching the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey. Today's show made possible by Kinzuri. Get 15% off on top of up to 30% discount when you go to kinzuri.com/chat. If you are having some confidence issues because of your height, they make the ultimate height hack with their height-boosting shoes. Tell you more about them later on in today's show as we break down the top post-draft Cowboys cut candidates. A new list of names with the NFL draft now over. The Cowboys don't need to cut anybody. They have roster spots open. They've got about $12 million right now in cap space. They'll become $22 after June 1st. They've got plenty of money, but they could save more and or maybe trim some fat potentially from that perspective. Let's begin with Jourdan Lewis, who's got a $4.7 million savings amount. If he is cut, it's the final year of his deal, so no differentiation in terms of when he ends up getting cut. Lewis suffered a Frank injury in late October that, in addition to Anthony Brown going down, really tested the depth of the Cowboys cornerback room. I still like Jourdan Lewis. Our Free Jourdan campaign was one of the more successful campaigns for the Dallas Cowboys, one they didn't take too literally, and now that we're not doing it anymore, it would not count as taking it too literally if the Cowboys ended up cutting Jourdan Lewis. He's a nickel corner, and I wonder how that all fits together with the presence of DaRon Bland. And I think Israel Mukuamu, who was at his best, and in that kind of nickel safety hybrid role the Cowboys explored last year. But the quarterback room right now in Dallas is deep. Trayvon Diggs, Stephon Gilmore, DaRon Bland, Lewis, Mukuamu can play safety or corner. Joseph, Wright, special team stud, C.J. Goodwin, Eric Scott, they drafted. You can do math. It's 9 names at corner. Multiple of those guys, barring injury, are going to get cut. So we'll continue along with our cornerback conversation. And next up is one Kelvin Joseph. Boss man fat does not save you that much money. It would probably be a post-June 1st cut, so you save $1.37 million. It's probably less about the cap savings and more about moving on from a potential mistake. The Cowboys were decimated at cornerback last year. They had a second-round pick, top 50 pick on their roster. And in year 2, they said, we can't play him. That is a very bad sign for long term. Now, he can still be out on special teams when he's not making mistakes and getting flagged, but he also drafted Eric Scott to maybe play that role for you. So prediction time. Will Kelvin Joseph make the Dallas Cowboys 53-man roster, the final 53-man roster? It's the pinned comment on today's show. So if an ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Why for yes and for no at the pinned comment. Another corner. I know, right? We're focusing on bigger names / bigger monetary savings, by the way. No one cares about, the 12th string receiver. Nahshon Wright. A little bit more money saved right now, but going to probably be post-June 1st, so it saves you a little bit less because, Kelvin Joseph makes more money. Nahshon Wright was in a similar boat last year. You had a former top 100 pick who the Cowboys were trying to give playing time to. And when it came to the playoffs, their biggest game of the year, instead of playing Nahshon Wright or Kelvin Joseph, they tried an entirely new cornerback grouping instead of having to play Nahshon Wright. He's got great length. He just can't find the football consistently enough. He got beat too much. The Wright-Joseph combo, which the Cowboys spent 2 top 100 picks on, was supposed to be a really good 1-2 punch long term. Maybe one's only your number 3 corner. Right now, they couldn't even cut it as your number 4 or number 5 corner. That is concerning. Both of those players, if they do not impress in training camp, they might be on their way out. Today's Cowboy Report is sponsored by Kinzuri. If you're tired of feeling insecure about your height, well, Kinzuri makes shoes. You can add up to 2.8 inches to your height discreetly. 2.8 by itself, not that much. 2.8 on top of, some inches there. It's actually pretty valuable. Ask your girl, right? Women get heels, makeup, and push-up bras, so why can't men get a confidence boost too? We're all the same height lying down anyway. Kinzuri shoes not only height boosting, but also stylish and comfortable. They're not the ugly grandpa's Velcro shoes, but fashionable shoes that can receive compliments even without the height increase. The height insoles are built into the shoes, making it the ultimate height hack. For a limited time, they are offering our viewers an exclusive 15% discount on top of up to 30% site-wide discount. So use code CHAT, C-H-A-T, at kinzuri.com/chat to save 45% off. Don't wait any longer. Upgrade your shoe game and confidence now at conzuri.com/chat. If you want to get high, put on a pair of Kinzuris. Links in the comments section and the description of today's show. Let's stick on the defensive side of the football here. Neville Gallimore is next up, and it was very weird when the report came out of, the Cowboys aren't going to cut Neville Gallimore. Well, no one was thinking that they were at the moment, but in training camp, he is fighting for his life on this Cowboys roster. $2.74 million saved if cut. That's a decent chunk of change, and Neville Gallimore has not yet put it all together. He has shown flashes. I would say 2021 flashes in a injury-limited season were the most impressive, but this past year, the Cowboys were a little mad at him. They were not that happy, and that's why he played so much in the preseason. And now there's a numbers game along the defensive line. Oso Odighizuwa, Mozzie Smith, Liam Fehoko, Jonathan Hankins, Chauncey Golston. That's 5 right there. Number 6 might be Neville Gallimore when it's all said and done, knowing Golston, Fehoko can play that kind of hybrid role there. Quinton Bohanna could also be on this list because, math, but there's not massive savings, so I left him off it from that perspective. So sound off in the comments section for me, folks, with a player who you think ends up getting cut. Doesn't have to be right now or in a month. Could be around training camp time. We'll hit some more names on that side in a moment, but sound off in the comment section. The next 2 names, beginning with Ronald Jones, I think actually had themselves helped out by what the Cowboys did in the draft in terms of the investments made at their positions. But that does not mean that Jones is guaranteed a roster spot. There is not much guaranteed money in his contract. Dallas saves most of it if they cut him. So he's got to earn his role this year. And that's alongside, a Malik Davis, maybe a Rico Dowdle, a Deuce Vaughn, Hunter Lipke, etc. Ronald Jones, I liked him coming out of USC. He was pretty good in 2020, but has not been utilized the same way that he maybe hoped he was going to be after that promising 2020 campaign. But Dallas doesn't have a lot of bodies. So Ronald Jones is not a cut candidate right now. He is got to earn that job in training camp, whether that's RB2, which he's got a chance to be RB2 on this team, or it's RB3. And remember, RB3/4 very often has to play special teams. Let's go to Chuma Edoga. Dallas took Asim Richards in the day 3 range. He's maybe a tackle, maybe a guard, and Edoga can do some similar things, tackle, guard. Maybe give him a shot at left guard. And even more so than Ronald Jones, he is not locked into a roster spot with the way the contract is set up. He hasn't played that much, under a season's worth of snaps, and he was rough in his first year. In a small sample size elsewhere, he hasn't been as productive in terms of the other options out there. But figuring out who's your left guard, this is your best 5 in some order right now. If let's say Tyron gets hurt again, who's your left guard? Is it Matt Farniok? Is it Edoga? Do you try Josh Ball? Is it Asim Richards? That's kind of an interesting situation Dallas has forced themselves into, or put themselves into, I suppose, right now. It makes them a great chance to make the roster. It's a matter of, does he in the end? We will keep you guys covered with more free Dallas Cowboys videos every single day right here on the Cowboys Report. So make sure you are subscribed. YouTube.com/@CowboysTV. One big name here near the end. Dorance Armstrong. If the Cowboys had drafted an edge early, and it sounds like Fehoko is going to be an earlier option. He's going to be maybe a defensive line interior guy there. Maybe that makes sense. But they didn't. Gives Dorance Armstrong a better chance to make the roster. $4.25 million, though, if he's cut right now. $5.75 after June 1st. That is a not insignificant amount of money. And what it comes down to is you want to give Sam Williams more snaps. You brought back Dante Fowler. Which Dorance Armstrong, though, are you going to get? The first 11 game last year was awesome. This is Pro Bowl numbers from Dorance Armstrong. But the last 8... he was pretty quiet. He was a bit more of a non-factor. And you go back to 2020, or 2021 even, first half, not that great. Second half, pretty good. How does it all balance out? I think it's Micah, Tank Lawrence, Sam Williams, Dante Fowler. I would assume Dorance Armstrong is edge number 5, right? Or at least what's like the worst case for him. What if one of those UDFAs impress? They gave Tyrus Reed a good amount of money, guaranteed. Isaiah Land or L. Johnson have talent. So Dorance Armstrong has taken a big step forward in the past, 2 years or so. But we're going to have to wait and see in terms of, is he going to continue on that path? So what would you do with Dorance Armstrong? C for cut him, K for keep. Remember, he brings you plenty of good special teams value as well. Sound off in the comments section, C for cut or K for keep. Going to cheat with 3 more names here. 3 random vets who, if you were to cut, would technically save you $1 million each, right? Well, yes and no. Remember, when you cut somebody, you have to fill that roster spot, whether it's on the 53 or not. So you're going to pay that guy even vet minimum around $700,000, right? So you're not saving that much, but these guys probably aren't going to make your roster anyway. So I'll throw them in there for the $1 million or more cutoff for those 3 players. By the way, Sean McCune, who isn't really a candidate right now to get cut, but also fits in that same category. He's not really the vet like Shutter Redwine, Antonio Callaway, and Malik Jefferson are.